That's my dog in the background. His name is Bear. Probably going to hear from him because he likes to bark. It's kind of what he does. But welcome into the first ever show of the Kyle King Show. And here is what's going to happen. We've got a great show for you today. Of course, we're going to talk about AEW Dynamite and what happened last night. We're going to talk about NXT and were they successful with their counter programming last night. Also, is this the end of Monday Night Raw as we see it? I don't know. We're going to figure that out later on tonight in the program. Now, do me a favor if you're on Twitter, you're on Instagram. Well, if you're on Twitter, please go ahead and give a good old retweet over there for me. And that way, let everybody know that we are live. Hello to you, Spees. Hello to you, Get the Tables. Welcome in, Alistair Fiend as well. It's going to be a great show. I hope you guys enjoyed your Wednesday night just as much as I did, because I did something that I haven't done in a very long time. Those of you who follow me on Twitter over here at Kyle King On Air, you guys know that I love to go ahead and live tweet me some wrestling. Hello, Heather245, welcome in. You guys know I love to tweet me some live wrestling, but last night I decided, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to turn my phone off because I was watching AEW Dynamite live. I was taping NXT, I was recording NXT, and I didn't want to spoil anything. Okay, I know we all have our preferences and everything like that, so I decided, you know what? This is going to be a fantastic opportunity for me to go ahead, turn the phone off, just enjoy some wrestling. And holy crap, it was amazing last night. I don't care what you watched. You got a great show. Now, of course, I started with AEW Dynamite, so let's go ahead and jump in. I'm wearing my Young Bucks shirt today to go ahead and support them yet again, and also to make my good friend Spees' head explode just a little bit, because I know he is not their greatest fan, but it was a good show last night. What a debut that they had. They kicked things off with Cody Rhodes, who, if you've been living under a rock, Cody Rhodes is super over, okay? I don't care what you want to say about Cody Rhodes. I know my buddy Spees likes to sit there and say, oh, he's so arrogant. Well, you know what? You get reactions like that, you go ahead and get to be a little bit arrogant. Also helps, when you're a Rhodes. And it helps when you help go ahead and create your own company. You can be a little bit cocky. But Cody, I think by far has to be the most over baby face in the company. He kicks things off with Sammy Guevara, our very own guy here from Houston, Texas. And you know what? It was a good match. And here's the thing that I have. I saw my buddy B-Mac, who I do a podcast, the Heel Turn podcast. And on the Heel Turn podcast, he goes ahead and says that, on the Heel Turn podcast, we release new episodes every Friday. I saw on his Twitter that he said he did not like the finish. Well, you know what? I did. And here's why. I like the fact that Cody didn't need to use his finisher to beat Sammy Guevara. Because if you notice, AEW and WWE and all them, they're starting to do this thing where they're wanting to be taken seriously. They're trying to transition to more of being presented like MMA or boxing, like they really do. I can't believe I'm going to say this, okay? Because you guys know I'm not a big Michael Cole fan, but they really do want to give it a big fight feel. So here's what I liked about the finish. I love the fact that Sammy goes for his top rope maneuver. Cody gets the legs up, knees him in the abdomen basically, gets an inside cradle, gets the victory. They always say that going to the high rent district, it's high risk, high reward. Well, I like the fact that they actually gave a match where this guy went up to go for this big move. He got caught. And I mean, let's be real. If you were to fall on somebody like that, I sincerely doubt you're going to sit there and kick out of it. Probably get the wind knocked out of you, whatever it may be. I love the finish. I love that they presented it that way. And I also love the fact that they do this with Cody Rhodes matches. Like, they're not sitting there and doing this to MJF, who everybody's loving, okay? They're not doing this to Pac. Because again, you run the risk of people getting upset with it. No, you're ruining Pac, you're ruining so-and-so. They're doing it with Cody. He's taking chances. He had the chance to put away Darby Allin, but no, he's the only person who has a tie. Cody does, the leader of the company. So I like the fact that AEW is taking these chances with Cody and letting other guys kind of get over and do their own thing. I love that. Speed says, nothing says MMA like, okay, hold on, we're going to get there, Speeds. Don't jump the gun or anything, okay? Let's just calm it down, because I also have thoughts on the Riho-Nyla Rose match, and again, you're probably never going to allow me to come on your show once I get there, but we will get there, okay? Also, do me a favor. I know you guys are in here with the stream twitching, or you're on the Twitch stream and everything. I'm also on Periscope. I'm also on YouTube. Do me a favor, hang out here on Twitch, because at 9 p.m., my friends Get the Tables are going to be doing their stream as well. So after you're done with the Kyle King show, go and watch Get the Tables, and it's a great night to talk wrestling, okay? So look, I like that Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks and all these other, I like that they're taking chances with Cody Rhodes matches. I love that. I think it's good for the company. And again, I really enjoyed the fact that this guy went for a high-risk move, he got caught, and it ended up costing him the match. All right? So, that was what we led off the night with, was that. Get Tables, you're very welcome, my friend. You are very welcome. Thank you for bumping your show to 9 so I can come on here and do this. Now, look, I know you guys are used to seeing me on, in the $1 Million Studios with Spees, but look, little setback happened in the Kyle King studios. The AC went out in my house, so we had to divert all the funds for the studio and get a brand new AC unit, so that way I don't sweat my balls off when I'm doing this. And yes, by the way, I am doing this show absolutely pantsless. So, you're welcome, ladies and guys. There's nothing wrong with that. Alistair says, sound a little low on my end. I can go ahead and crank that volume up there just a little bit, and hopefully that will work. I'll also increase the volume here on my headset. I do have better equipment, but like I said, it's been a rough day. It has been an absolutely rough day that I'm getting through, okay? So that's why I'm very grateful to have you guys in here. So, Speed says, oh, that's right, you're at Mama King's place, right? No, I'm back at my house. We finally got the AC fixed, so thank goodness. But the little one is trying to sleep upstairs, so all good in the hood. Truth and Loyalty is in here. What's up, my friend? How are you? Heather says it sounds fine on her end. Awesome. Good. Get the Table says no AC in Texas. Yikes. Yeah, I literally sat here while they worked on it all day. And at one point, I went outside and sat on my patio and went, it's less humid out here than it is in my own house. And you know what else I got to do today? I got to rewatch AEW Dynamite, and it was so good. Okay? I'll get back to recapping everything that happened, but I just want to take a moment to sit here and say I'm so glad that we finally have an alternative to the WWE. And those of you who have watched me, you know that I am not the guy to sit here and say, oh, WWE has to go down. No, I want good wrestling. That's all I want. At the end of the day, I want both companies to exist. You know what I mean? I don't want AEW to do so well that WWE goes out of business. And I sure as hell don't want WWE to go unchecked. Those of you who do have your preference, look, that's fine. Like what you like, all right? But all I'm saying is WWE has gotten a lot better because they have competition now. We are the winners in this wrestling war, all right? And to me, AEW Dynamite was phenomenal. It's everything I asked for. There was pyro. There was great matches. I didn't necessarily care for the... Look, SCU, I like them. I like Kazarian. I like CD. I think Scorpio Sky has a bright future in this business. But they're kind of dorks. You know? And this is coming from a huge dork himself. They're kind of dorks. I miss the SCU guys who were cutting promos on the worst town they've ever been to. I almost wish that they would treat the crowd like MJF treats the crowd. I miss the in your face SCU. Now again, I get it. It's a popular gimmick, but it just falls flat for me with them trying to be baby faces. You know, I wish they would go all in on being heels once again. I'm glad that Lucha Bros came out, while they were doing their promo and everything, because again, look, you still have to promote what's going to happen next week. And next week we start that tag team division, which is going to be amazing. I like that SCU and the Lucha Bros are going to go and have themselves a first round match. Noob, welcome into the program tonight. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. But SCU, to me, I think would be served better as heels, making fun of the crowd and making fun of the hometown. Look, there's a reason why they call it cheap heat or a cheap pop, okay? It works. And them trashing the town, but then getting them to join into the SCU, which, by the way, that crowd did not really join in on the SCU. Thank you, Heather. I appreciate you hosting. I appreciate that. I don't have all of that set up. I'm going to have to get Spees to come in here and help me out with that and getting all the sound effects and everything that you guys come to love. Spees says the tag team division is pretty good outside of the Young Bucks. Okay, you know what? All right, your show is pretty good outside of the pasty white guy that sits on the left. How does that feel? Huh? It doesn't feel... No, please don't leave. I need all the viewers that I can get. You know what I mean? But I will have Speeds come in here, and he says, I got you. Thank you. Probably not after I just went and roasted you a little bit, but it's all good, homie. I appreciate you. So anyway, that was SCU. I look forward to that match. I think SCU and Lucha Bros are going to have a hell of a tag team match, and I'm just looking forward to that tag team tournament in general. Not so much when the Dark Order is on there, but honestly, there's not a team in there that I hope doesn't win or anything like that. Noob says, any other former NXT stars you want to return to NXT besides... Okay, we will get there. We will get there, okay? I promise you, Noob, we will get there. So I'm going to save that comment for when we get to the NXT section, which is coming up. Overall, I wrote the article today on ColeSports.com. That's COAL sports.com, and you can go and check the things that I loved and hated from AEW Dynamite's big reveal, or I'm sorry, their big premiere. And look, Cody and Sammy was on there. I also like that Jericho attacked Cody because, again, they did a good job in this show promoting future shows. Now I'm kind of excited to see Lucha Bros versus SCU. I'm still excited to see Jericho and Cody Rhodes take each other on for the AEW Championship. I like that stuff. I also like the fact that they went picture-in-picture during Jericho's beatdown of Cody. Look, I have said many times I'm not a fan of commercial breaks in between matches. During matches. I don't like it. I'm a radio DJ. How would you like it if I'm playing your favorite artist and a brand new song, and in the middle of it, I go to commercial and then come back while the song's still in progress? It would take you out of it. You wouldn't like it that much. That's how I feel whenever you have a match that has a commercial pop up. So I enjoyed the fact that they let Cody and Sammy have their match, and then in the post shenanigans, that's when they do picture-in-picture. I don't necessarily need Jim Ross to give play-by-play while Chris Jericho is beating down Cody Rhodes. Watching it was good enough. You know what I mean? It was fine for me. I like that. Now, don't get me wrong. Later on in the night, they had to interrupt some matches, and that sucked. And I even put that in my article on ColeSports.com that, you know what? I guess I'm just going to have to get over it. That's the norm. But I do appreciate when they do stuff like that. And NXT even did stuff like that as well. MJF, come on, man. MJF is just awesome. I love the fact that his music hits. If you go back and you watch that segment, his music hits, he starts coming out, and everybody's cheering for him. And you're not supposed to cheer MJF because, well, even though he is salt of the earth, he's not a good guy. So I like that MJF just cuts it off at the pass and just starts making fun of the crowd and mocking them. That's perfect. It's good heel work. He got that crowd back yelling at him. Alistair says Baby Miz. You know what? I think that's an unfair comparison because I feel that MJF has a lot more freedom than Miz ever really did. Granted, Miz at a house show one time interrupted the national anthem, but the way MJF goes about it, you'll never see the Miz acting that way towards the crowd because there's kids in the crowd. Okay? AEW is geared more towards our demographic, the older demographic that grew up with the Attitude Era. So I think that's a little bit of an unfair comparison. And I don't think that's a service to either Miz or MJF. But I love that he does that because here's the other thing. You know what I've missed? Chants of asshole. I've missed those. God, everybody who watched wrestling back in the Attitude Era, you know, every time Vince would get cut off with an asshole chant, and then you'd get Stone Cold Steve Austin go, I can't hear you, Vince. You got 13,000 people calling you an asshole. It's fun. Also, I love going to matches and being able to openly chant a curse word. I like it. I enjoy that because I'm also a juvenile at heart, okay? So I love what MJF does and how he gets in that. Now, the match with him and Brandon Cutler, ugh. And look, I'm sorry. I like Brandon Cutler's story. I watch BTE, so I saw the episode where they explained that, you know, he's never asked for a break. He's a hard worker. I love guys like that. I really, truly do. But Brandon Cutler just does absolutely nothing for me. I don't care. When his music hit, I was just like, oh, okay, at least we're about to see MJF, which was the good part. So, maybe he'll get better. I don't know. But Brandon Cutler seems to be destined for jobber status. You know what I mean? So, I hope he does better. I don't ever want to, look, I don't ever want a wrestler to not succeed. What would be the point in that? All right, maybe there's a few wrestlers I hope don't succeed, but that's more because they've done some pretty shady things. But that's neither here nor there. Let's focus on the positives, guys, okay? Let's focus on that. But yeah, Brandon Cutler, he's a nerd, and I don't care. I just don't. I'm glad MJF beat him, and I really hope that they just move on. Also, I couldn't tell, did he really botch that top rope maneuver? Because if he did, it was a good call on their part to sit there and be like, hey, it was botched. Let's just end this, get it over with. Good on them. But, yeah, not a good look. Not a good look, BC. I'm sorry. The next thing that I loved, come on, Hangman versus Pac. This was a match we were supposed to get over at Double or Nothing, but because of creative differences or whatever, we didn't. But damn, was that a fun match. Wasn't match of the night? Well, actually, you know what? It probably was. I love the fact that Pac still gets a win. Pac still gets a win by doing some bastard moves. I loved that spot where Earl Hebner didn't know what was going on. Absolutely loved that. Loved that he hits the red arrow with with Hangman laying on his stomach and then turns that into the brutalizer and gets a win that way. It's awesome. The other thing I love about it is Hangman Page is clearly somebody AEW is big on. They love them some Hangman. I mean, hell, he's in the Elite, but they've said multiple times that Hangman Page is a specimen, that he is an up-and-coming talent, that he is going to be a superstar. So I love that right now you have Hangman Page coming off of two pretty big losses. Two really, really big losses. And I like the fact that the young, up-and-coming talent now has to do some soul-searching and has to refocus himself in trying to become better. I love that. The chase continues for Hangman Page. I kind of wish that they had themselves an Intercontinental or North American Championship, because I think Hangman Page would be perfect for it. But until they do, I just love the fact that he's getting in these high-profile matches and he's not winning. He's doing a good job. He's having a good showing, but he's just not winning. So I love that. I love that they're focusing on long-term booking. Nick Jackson even came out and said as much, that their primary focus is long-term booking, which is great. Heather says, I kind of wish that they can sign Cass XL. Look, I've been wanting Cass and Enzo back, but I've said many times, I only want them back if they've learned their lessons and they are genuinely sorry. And unfortunately, I don't think either one. I mean, look, Big Cass just a few weeks ago had that incident at a small indie promotion where he's even said, I'm gone. Like, if I come back, it won't be until I'm ready. So I would love to see it, but not until they've got their demons and their issues all squared away. All right? Once they have that taken care of, then yes, cool. Maybe you can come in and sign. But until then, handle your stuff, okay? Go be the person you need to be and get right before you come back into a high-profile situation. So we move on from that. Hangman Page and Pac was awesome. Again, I just love that he is just this bastard shit heel, and he's amazing. Here is where Spees is going to lose his ever-loving mind, because let's go ahead and talk about Riho versus Nyla Rose, okay? Those of you who have been living under a rock and you're watching this, I don't know why you're watching this full of spoilers, but I appreciate it. I do. But Riho is your first ever AEW Women's Champion. A 90-pound girl defeated somebody 3 times her size. Now, this is what I want you guys to notice right now. Spees earlier in the comments was talking, was all upset about it, making jokes about it. Alistair Fiend, SMH. But look what Heather says. Heather says she loved that match. That's who it's aimed towards. Okay, look, it's fine. If you didn't like it, that's cool. Again, you're not going to hear differently from me. I kind of fast-forwarded through it the second time I watched it, and I'm not going to lie, my brother and I, we were watching it last night. We kind of waited 30 minutes and then started kind of like catching up, because we're like, if something's boring, we'll fast-forward, mainly keeping in mind we were going to fast-forward through that match. But here's the thing, man. Go back and watch the crowd. The crowd was into that match. Oftentimes, we forget that while, yes, it is a televised program, they're still putting on a show for a crowd that has paid a lot of money to be there. If you're at WWE's case, I don't know how much AEW's tickets were, but they still have to put on a show for the crowd attending. And say what you want about it, say the finish was unbelievable, say the whole match was dumb, that's fine. But go back and watch that crowd. They were into it. That crowd was on the edge of their seat. They were standing up by the end of that match, counting along to the finish, all of that. Speed says, is Riho the 8-year-old that Kenny beat a while ago? Riho, I believe he tagged with her. I don't know if he beat her or had her in a match, but he did tag with her. So, again, say what you want about the match. That's fine. But the crowd in attendance loved it. And Heather, who that demographic appeals to, she loved that match. That's what it's there for, guys. That's why I say, that's why I disagree so much with Jim Cornette. One, because he's always so angry, and I don't have time for anger and negativity. But, like what you like, go find what you want to find. There's so much wrestling out there. You can literally find all the good stuff that you want. Juanito says that women's belt was especially made for Riho. Yeah, because it would have looked silly on Nyla Rose. I almost called her Nyla Jax. But yeah, the crowd loved it. And here's my other thing, okay? Here's why I put it in the love section of my things I loved and hated from AEW Dynamite. Speed says you have time for anger and negativity. You hang out with me. Yeah, but that's only like 1 hour a week, okay? And that's all I can take. I reserve my time for anger and negativity with you and BMAC, okay? So here's why I put it in the love section, because I think this was a really smart, strategic move by AEW. Think about it. Who is the one superstar on the female roster that absolutely lost every single ounce of her momentum losing a title match? She had been undefeated in NXT, had a dominant run there. Then she had a dominant run on the main roster, wins the Royal Rumble, only to lose to Charlotte at WrestleMania. It's smart for AEW to sit there and go, hey, Japanese wrestlers, Asuka, you can come over here and be champion. We're not afraid to put the belt on you, because look, we all love Andrade. Well, most of us love Andrade. But what's the one story that has been going around during Andrade's run on the main roster is Vince McMahon won't give him a push because he doesn't speak English. Learn some English, pal, and then we'll talk about a push. AEW doesn't care. They just put the title, they just put their women's championship, their first ever women's championship, on a Japanese girl who doesn't speak English. I think it's a smart business move. And look, I'm all for a smart business move out, in the long term over a short term booking angle. I like that. So, okay, again, maybe you didn't like the match, but I liked the business move, and I also liked what I think it represents. I think that's a smart way to play it. The one thing I've always agreed with Jim Cornette on, remember back when Christian was in TNA and Christian ended up leaving and he switched back to the WWE? Well, what did they do with him? They put him in a feud with Jack Swagger for the ECW title that nobody cared about. And I remember Jim Cornette after that going, if Vince McMahon was smart, he would have put Christian on the main roster and put him in the main event title picture and show guys that, hey, look, if you come here, we're not going to bury you. We're not going to sit there and treat you as subpar talent. We're going to embrace you. We're going to embrace your credit. Vince didn't do that. Look where we're at now. Now these indie guys are taking matters into their own hands. So I think it was a smart move to put the title on Riho. And plus, I think she's going to lose it to Britt Baker, which I'm all for because I love Dr. Britt Baker. I just do. Plus, you also now get Britt to have a feud with Bea Priestley, hopefully. And I think Nyla will go on to have a feud with Awesome Kong, which I'm all about as well. Or, yes, as Noob points out, Shida as well. I'm not going to say the first name because I can barely pronounce it, and I don't want to screw it up. But, yes, Shida as well. It's a smart move to me. Heather says, I love Dr. Britt Baker also. Yeah, she is just all of the awesome. Then I also love the 6-man tag team match. And I know I saw some people, like, again, my buddy B-Mac sat there and he goes, wait a minute. Jon Moxley shows up and interferes. Shouldn't that be a disqualification? And I thought the same thing. I remember looking at my brother going like, how is this match still happening as 3-on-2? AEW does this thing where it's at the ref's discretion if they want to do that. And here's why I'm fine with it. Again, remember how earlier I said they're trying to give this presentation of, not scripted. They're trying to give the presentation of, big fight feel, MMA, boxing, yada, yada, yada. You guys remember when I said that? I kind of like the refs having a little bit of discretion because you know what happens? People argue about it and they talk. The way I put it earlier today is it's almost like NFL officiating. Those of you who are or know some Saints fans, how long have they been bitching about that pass interference call in the NFC Championship game? They talk about it. Look, nothing's going to change. It happened, but it keeps people talking. Oh, this should have happened. Oh, no, that, they made the right call. Whatever. I kind of like that. I kind of like letting the refs have a little bit of discretion to do what they want. Also, I like the fact that Nick Jackson and Matt Jackson held their own in that match. I also like the fact that they lost. Because again, I've seen so many people going, oh, Kenny and the Bucks and Cody, they're just gonna put themselves over and bury the talent. They're not doing that. They're just not. They're playing this thing smart. And anybody who sits there and tells you differently is just hoping for AEW to fail. And they may sit there and be like, no, I'm not hoping that. Yes, they are. They absolutely are. I also like the fact that Jon Moxley continues to do whatever the fuck Jon Moxley wants to do. That's the point of Jon Moxley's character. He's insane. He does whatever he wants. He shows up whenever he wants. Plus, him spiking Kenny through that table was actually really cool. It was a lot of fun. I'm kind of sad that was the only part we saw of Moxley, but I did appreciate that he showed up, and he showed up kicking ass, especially after Kenny cut that promo, and everybody was talking about the Kenny promo. Well, now, everyone's talking about Moxley showing up, not really about Kenny. I love it. I also am so happy that Jake Hager is now All Elite. I thought Jack Swagger was fun in WWE. I saw why they were high on that guy. I saw why they thought he had so much potential. I'm sad that he never reached that, but that doesn't mean I can't hope that he reaches it in AEW. I really do. I really truly hope that he reaches that potential and that he is the championship caliber athlete that they thought that he could be. I just hope he doesn't do promos. I know, look, I'm not trying to make fun of the guy's lisp. It happens. And he would kick my ass if I did. But it doesn't make for a good, intimidating promo. It just doesn't. Noob says, so the Elite is pretty much lost again. Yes, the Elite lost last night, and Hangman lost. Cody was the only one who won. And that makes sense, because Cody is building towards Full Gear. And he even said in the stipulation for last night that if Sammy were to win, Sammy would be in the title picture. So I loved that. Heather says, I think I know why they are saving Moxley, because they are saving him for the next AEW pay-per-view. I think he's going to have a match on one of the upcoming Dynamites, if I'm not mistaken. I want to say it's next week or the week after, where he's actually going to have a match. So I don't know. But he will be fighting he will be fighting Kenny at Full Gear. Heather says, I want to see him versus Spears. That would be good. That was a guy we didn't see last night. Shawn Spears didn't show up. Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy didn't show up. Joey Janela didn't show up either. I like that. Kind of made me miss them a little bit. You know what? Because I was sitting there going like, wow, so they're not going to make it the pay-per-view, even though they've been on Fight for the Fallen. They were on Fighter Fest. They've been on all the pay-per-views. I liked that. I can't miss you if you're on my TV every single week. So I'm really glad that those guys weren't featured, because I bet you they're on next week. I love it. I enjoy that. Heather says Havoc didn't show up. You're right. Juanito says Swagger was ready to be the next Kurt Angle. For sure. And guess what? He can still be Kurt Angle in AEW. Because I don't know if anybody knows this or not, but when Kurt Angle left WWE, he didn't stop being Kurt Angle. He was still that guy. Just on a program nobody really watched because they were really bad back then. Granted, they had, I know, Get the Tables is in here and they love themselves some Impact. I know that I'm new to the Impact game. Go the North. I think those guys are fucking cool as shit. But Impact back in the day was bad. I will be curious to see if Jay Lethal ends up making the jump to AEW. You know, like I feel like Jay Lethal, he's really good. I like Jay Lethal, but I feel like Jay Lethal is one of those like wrestlers. You know what I mean? Like, you know how comedians will always sit there and be like, "Oh, yeah, you think I'm funny? You think, this guy's funny?" No. Here's who inspired me. It's some comedian that like nobody really knows except for like a small group of them. I feel like that's Jay Lethal. But I would love to see him kind of get some credit in AEW. Not so much Colt Cabana. Colt never really did much for me. Scotty Goldman to some. Not really a huge Colt fan. But I would like to see Jay Lethal maybe get a shot in AEW. Heather says, I don't like Impact. I used to watch it for Johnny Impact, but since he's not Johnny Impact, I don't watch Impact. Well, I never really got to see him in Impact, and I'm going to be curious to see where he goes, because apparently he didn't re-sign with WWE. I don't know. Noob says, remember the August 7th, 2014 episode of Impact Wrestling? It was the worst. No, I don't, because I just stopped watching it, to be honest. So that was AEW Dynamite. For a premiere show, you know what? We're going to go ahead and give it a grade. We're going to give the letter grade, from an A+ to an F-. And for their premiere episode, I'm going to give them an A. That was an A show. It was fantastic. I loved it from start to finish. I can't wait for more. And you know what? It was better than NXT. I know. There's somebody in here who's going to be like, oh, Kyle, you're way off base. You're crazy. No, I'm not. I watched NXT. Now, look, I will admit that I did watch it after AEW. It was like 10 p.m. I was tired. I had been sitting in a hot house all day. So I get it. I probably wasn't in the greatest mood to watch it, but it was an okay show. Heather says she didn't see it. Well, you know what? I'm sure you've read the news. I'm sure you've seen what happened, but let's go ahead and cap it off. Look, the NXT Championship match was really good. Matt Riddle and Adam Cole was everything that I thought it was going to be. It was awesome. But the title didn't change hands. Okay? Mia Yim versus Io Shirai. Let me just say this right now. I love me some Io Shirai. I think she is awesome since she became heel. I love her music. I love her look. I love everything about Io Shirai. But the match she had with Mia Yim, I fast-forwarded through. I didn't really care for it. I found it kind of lame. Maybe that's just me. But I didn't think it was that great. It was okay at best. I love the fact that Finn Balor is back in NXT. I also love the fact that Ciampa is back ahead of schedule, because now it's so funny. Like, Adam Cole was almost running out of people to compete against for the title. But now he's got Finn Balor. Now he's got Tommaso Ciampa. He's still got Matt Riddle. Maybe Velveteen Dream, although he's going to challenge Roddy for the North American title again. I still think Velveteen Dream is going to go and get drafted to either Raw or SmackDown. Truth and Loyalty says, Yim has been dropping the ball as of late. Yeah, I'm not a big Mia Yim fan. I don't really care for the HBIC. The head baddie in charge. Come on, man. You had Corey Graves literally yell, holy shit, one night on Monday Night Raw. I'm pretty sure you can get away calling Mia Yim the head bitch in charge. Heather says, I think Dream will go up to SmackDown. I think so too. I think that's where they're going, because SmackDown is the A show. But what else did you have last night? Pete Dunne versus Danny Burch. It was a good match. But wasn't anything special. There was a lot of really good matches. Nothing special about it. And that's the problem with NXT, because NXT has been delivering so much that you sit there and you see a really good match and you go like, typical NXT, had a really good match. That was about it. Heather says, I think Gargano is coming up to the main roster also. I don't really care for Johnny Gargano, but I will say this about Johnny Gargano. That dude had a really good match with Shane Thorne. I think Shane Thorne can be really, really, really good. That was a fun match last night. I would like to see more of Shane Thorne on my TV. Noob says Shayna is also running out of people to face for the NXT Women's title. Yeah, look at their title matches. Here's the thing. Look at their title matches last night that they were using to counter-program AEW. And I use that term loosely, okay? But look what happened. Adam Cole, Matt Riddle, Adam Cole retains. Shayna Baszler versus Candice LeRae, Shayna Baszler retains. Undisputed Era, Kyle Fish, Bobby O'Reilly versus the Street Profits, Undisputed Era retains. Really good matches, but nothing surprising. Last night, you were able to have Jon Moxley show up, which was really cool. You had Lucha Brothers come out of nowhere, which was really cool as well. Heather says Street Profits coming up to Monday Night Raw. I think that's happening as well. But here's what else I think is happening. I think Monday Night Raw is coming to an end. They're focusing a lot of time and energy on SmackDown. SmackDown is a billion-dollar property. Monday Night Raw isn't. Sure, they've got Seth Rollins. Sure, they have The Fiend. But Monday Night Raw, I mean, even Brock Lesnar is now going to SmackDown. SmackDown is being treated... SmackDown now also has its own show on FS1 as well. Monday Night Raw doesn't. What is Monday Night Raw doing for WWE? Nothing. It's getting buried on Twitter night in and night out. I think Raw's done, if I'm being honest. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Triple H recently had an interview where he goes, you know what? You either evolve or you die. And look, I know he said that because he was in Evolution as well. But Raw's not keeping up with the times, man. Week in and week out. And that 3 hours is so long. NXT is fresh. It's fresh faces. I mean, look, you have Finn Balor going back. You have people, even in this chat as we speak, talking about how they want Asuka and Kairi Sane to go back down to NXT. I've even said that I want the War Raiders to go back to NXT and be treated properly. Raw has not been doing a good job the last few years. Raw has been sinking further and further into the ratings abyss, and they can't seem to get themselves out. No matter what they do, no matter what they try. But you know what is pulling in ratings? NXT. You know what is about to pull in big ratings? SmackDown. They're about to eclipse Raw. And as there's one thing we know about Vince McMahon is if you stop making him money, Vince McMahon stops caring about you. And that's the point we're about to get into. So I would not be surprised if Monday Night Raw went off the air sometime soon. Noob says Raw is going downhill into oblivion, and yeah, it is. But NXT's not. Everybody's excited for that. Everybody's excited for SmackDown. Everybody's excited for AEW. You know how excited they are for AEW? It beat NXT last night in the ratings. Now look, again, take this with a grain of salt because NXT has been on for 3 weeks now, and this was a premiere for AEW. But AEW, to steal a phrase from the WWE, laid the smackdown on NXT in the ratings. AEW pulled in 1.4 million viewers. NXT, 891,000. Now again, we all knew this was going to happen. Okay, we all knew that AEW was more than likely going to win the night. Even WWE knew that. WWE, before the ratings came out, even released themselves a statement saying, "Congratulations to AEW on a successful premiere. The real winners of last night's head-to-head telecast of NXT on USA Network and AEW on TNT are the fans, who can expect Wednesday nights to be a competitive and wild ride, as this is a marathon, not a one-night sprint." I think this was a smart PR move by the WWE. I think it was also really nice of them to do. Because here's the other thing I see. I see fans going like, "Oh, I wish they would stop taking shots at each other." No. No. Let them take shots at each other because that means they're acknowledging their competition. Them acknowledging competition is good for us, the fans, because as long as they're acknowledging the competition, they're trying to beat them and they're trying to make a better product. So let them take all the shots that they want all day, every day, on Twitter, on their shows, on their YouTube series. I don't care. Take all the shots that you want, guys. Acknowledge that you have the competition because you guys having competition is only benefiting me, the consumer. Juanito says, I don't know, but I feel we are finally starting to see the turn for the better for professional wrestling. NXT, AEW, and WWE will get better. Yeah, they are. This is good for wrestling. Here's the other key thing with those stats, with those numbers last night. Their key demographic is 18 to 49-year-olds. Here were the numbers. I'm reading it right now off of my phone. They got 553,000 viewers in that demographic last night. That's awesome. AEW is here to stay, and I'm excited for it. I think you guys should be as well. Competition is only good for us. Everybody wins when there's competition. Except for the side that eventually folds. Monday Nitro. Sorry. Had something tickling my throat. By the way, what did you guys think last night of JR, Tony Schiavone, and Excalibur? Does it just need to be JR and Tony Schiavone? Is Excalibur kind of being wasted? Does he not know what's going on? Because I kind of like Excalibur. But I really like JR and Tony Schiavone. I felt really bad for Tony last night because every time Tony would try to do an interview, he kept getting interrupted. And that is no way to show respect to a legend. Okay, ladies and gentlemen? But I did like JR and Tony because they also have chemistry as well. Heather says, I feel the same way for Renee, like that she's being wasted. Well, I don't think Renee's being wasted. Yes and no. She's getting a big opportunity, and she is learning this on the fly. But yeah, she's so much better as like on Talking Smack or doing backstage segments. She's way better in that role. She's being misused. I wouldn't say wasted. She is being mismanaged, though. Noob says the commentary team on AEW is amazing. I prefer it myself. I still think that Mauro, Nigel, and Beth are the best commentary team in professional wrestling right now. I love their energy. I love their calls. I love the fact that not only does Mauro Ranallo call the action in the ring, he also uses the proper terms for the moves that they use. You know, like last night, yes, Montez Ford gave a rock bottom, but Mauro called it a Uranagi. Uranagi. He calls it he knows the actual terms. I like that. I feel it's good. Juanito says they were good. Schiavone, a bit rusty, wasn't loud as he used to be on Nitro. Well, you know what? Tony Schiavone also doesn't have to carry the action anymore, so I think it's a different role for him. Heather says, I think that Charlie would be better on commentary. I honestly wish that commentary would go back to just having two-man booths. I think 3 is overkill. I don't know why they all of a sudden decided that we need to go ahead and do 3-man booths or 4-man booths or anything like that. Like, it's too much, you know? And the third person always feels like they're your friend who got stood up on a date. You know, like you're out with your significant other and you're like, guys, it's going to be so much fun. We can double date. This will be great. And then come to find out that, you know, your friend's date didn't really want to go and she wasn't even real. So you're just kind of stuck at the Applebee's together, you know, waiting on your dollar margaritas to show up because you're at an Applebee's and you only went to the Applebee's because your friend's date wanted to go there and she was a bitch and canceled anyway, or he was a bitch and canceled. Either way, you're stuck at an Applebee's drinking dollar margaritas. That's what three-man commentary teams feels like. Noob says, while every one of the main roster is being underutilized, Asuka is having fun on her YouTube gaming channel. Maybe she might invite Kairi Sane to game. Yes, maybe she will. I like that Asuka is having fun. So here's what we're going to do, guys. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. Here's what I want you to do. First of all, thank you so much for joining me as we embark on the maiden voyage of the Kyle King Show. And look, every single Thursday night at 8 p.m., we're going to be talking about AEW Dynamite. We're going to be talking about NXT. We'll talk about all the rumors and news and gossip going on in the professional wrestling world. I know we were supposed to preview Hell in a Cell and all that, but you know what? That's why I have a podcast. Go and find the Heel Turn podcast on iTunes and the radio.com app and sportsradio610.com. You can find it there. It's myself and Brian McDonald. We drop new episodes every single Friday, and here's the best part. We're recording tomorrow at 10 a.m. 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, so that episode is going to be ready for you guys by your drive home tomorrow. So we will have a brand new episode. We're going to be doing our predictions for the Predictions Championship, and I will beat Brian McDonald. I will beat BMAC this month, and I will take that title home with me. We're also going to do a draft for the tiebreaker on our predictions. We're going to go ahead and break down all of the stuff we've seen this week as well. So please go ahead and also find us on Twitter at The Heel Turn Pod. Okay, we have 109 episodes up right now. So go and give that a follow. Go and find it. Subscribe to us on iTunes. Do me a favor and follow me on Instagram at Kyle King On Air, and the same thing on Twitter at Kyle King On Air. Now, I want you guys to stay tuned, okay? Don't leave Twitch, all right? If you're here right now, don't leave, because my good friends, Get the Tables, they're about to go live. I am their lead-in show, and I'm very happy to be their lead-in show. Now that we're all kind of sitting here, we're ready to talk about wrestling, let's go watch Get the Tables, give them support as well. Heather says I have to go in 6 minutes. That's okay, Heather. Thank you so much for going ahead and giving a stream and a host as well. I definitely appreciate that. The Real Erica B, thank you for being here. Juanito, Noob, Spees, Truth and Loyalty, Jeffrey Cross, all you guys, thanks for joining me on my first ever show. I appreciate it. We'll be in the studios soon enough, as soon as we start getting those built again, after I pay off my brand new AC unit. So thank you guys so much for being here and doing that. And again, please go ahead and give me a follow on all those social media sites so we can always sit here and talk professional wrestling. My name is Kyle King. You're not. That's probably a good thing. Thank you guys so much for being here. Have a fantastic evening. Go watch Get the Tables. They are coming up next here on Twitch. You guys be good. I'll see you soon.